So we are now recording. Sir Leon. Good day, everyone. This is Dr. Jonathan Flordelis. You know me as Dr. Joff, your trusted source for hip and knee arthritis information. And as usual, I'm here to do two things: to educate and inspire you that you can definitely walk again, even if you have severe hip or knee arthritis. Today, I have a very special guest. Sir, please do introduce yourself.
Good afternoon. My name is Leon. My surname is Le Gallois. I'm a Frenchman who is, by the will of God, living happily in Cebu City, Philippines.
Yes, so tell us, how was it that you discovered you had an issue with your hip, sir?
I began to have difficulties walking. I had tremendous pain, and as things developed, the pain became more and more severe. I was fortunate enough to have had the experience of being treated at Cybergate surgery
I see.
by Father Fleur-de-Lis, from where I could not speak any higher in thanking him for having helped me so much with the problems that I had with my foot and the arthritis there. And it is following this that at some later stage, I was fortunate that I met his son, or one of his sons, and there we proceeded with investigating what my problem was.
Exactly. So, for those of you arthritis warriors who didn't know, I do have a father who is also an orthopedic surgeon who treated Sir Leon. And it was later, after a few visits, where we met. And Sir Leon, you said you had a pain. You failed to mention where the pain was exactly this time.
Right.
Where was it that you felt the pain?
This pain, the main pain began in the groin. And from there, I had this matter investigated by a number of professionals. Nothing was found. Consequently, I went back to the Fleur-de-Lis orthopedic person who then investigated what my problem was. My first problem was that the pain which I was having had been caused by very simple explanation, so it was said, that it was arthritis. And was the definition of this to make me see the reason behind the explanation that the doctor had given me at the time, was that he knew what it was immediately. And he said, let's take an X-ray and I will show you what your problem is. He had an X-ray taken of my groin inside and produced a picture that represented the hip. From there, 1/3 of the hip was already discolored. This discoloration of the hip indicated definitely arthritis.
So again, my dear arthritis warriors, there was groin pain, and this groin pain caused severe pain that Sir Leon went again to the orthopedic clinic where x-rays were done, and he said it was arthritis of his hip. Now, can you please tell us, sir, how was your day like when you had this severe pain? Can you paint us a picture of the things that you had difficulty doing?
Well, difficulties were constant. The only thing that I was never prepared for is what the pain seemed to be moving from one area to another of my anatomy. And I was ignorant, as I am ignorant of my, I'm ashamed to say, of my proper anatomy. And I was in need of help professionally. And it was there at your clinic that I found this help. And this is there that through your professionalism, all was found.
Okay. Can you paint us a picture of the difficult things to do? Was it difficult to put your shoes on or socks? For those of the arthritis warriors in our audience who don't exactly understand what hip arthritis is like,
Right.
maybe you can paint a picture.
Yeah, well, the first problem I had was getting out of bed in the morning.
In the morning?
Yes. I could not lift my upper body. I had to slide on the mattress to find space out of the bed until one foot reached the floor. And when I got up, then the pain moved to my back, which made me hesitant, putting one foot forward to another, which made me hold on to the wall, hold on to anything I could hold for 2, 3, or 4 steps until I started moving a little bit more freely to reach the CR, because that's where I was going in the first instance.
Oh, wow. So thank you for that. Dear arthritis warriors, you have heard from Sir Leon, getting out of bed is a struggle just to reach the CR or comfort room. That was a daily thing, sir, for you?
Absolutely.
So every day he would find this a very painful struggle to go to the restroom. Now, what was the most significant limitation? Is it the getting out of bed, or was it the walking, or how far could you walk, sir, without feeling so much pain?
Well, it varied a little, but I always reached a stage where I froze with pain.
Oh, that
I couldn't do anything. And I began having head turbulence.
Oh, wow. That is something that every arthritis warrior needs to realize. Severe hip arthritis can present as groin pain, and it can have devastating consequences to your daily life. Getting out of bed may be a struggle. Going to the restroom or CR may be a struggle. And what would you say, sir, was the most challenging part before you decided on having the surgery done?
Well, I reached the point where I had truly nowhere to go. I was losing confidence. The pain was getting worse. And eventually, I only had to keep on asking for help. And I was fortunate enough to meet this gentleman who explained to me how severe it was and that it was unlikely that it would get any better unless action was taken. Consequently, I inquired and said, well, what sort of progress can we make? And inevitably, it came to the crunch, to the truth, where the matter had reached a stage where only an operation could possibly resolve the problem.
Oh, thank you for that, sir. And that was why Sir Leon decided on having a surgery. And he lost confidence in himself. It was not just the physical pain, but it seems there is a psychological effect on this severe pain in your psyche. Would you say that this is true, sir?
Absolutely true, sir.
Okay. And would you say it affected not just yourself, but people in your household?
Oh, my goodness, yes. Of course. I needed assistance all day long, and often at night.
Okay.
because the severity of the pain demanded that I pass urine
Mm.
during the middle of the night,
Oh,
which made life even more difficult with less sleep.
wow. So, mga arthritis warriors, remember that severe arthritis can not just affect your health, your psyche, but even the people in your household. Sleep can be affected, and that leads to a downward spiral of negativity. Can you describe that feeling of having the first step after surgery, sir? Can you remember after the procedure, the total hip replacement? What was the feeling of taking that very first step?
The feeling was correct. The feeling was 100% satisfactory. One, the pain had gone. And two, I was still alive. And I believe then that this would never happen to me again. As I stand today, due to this operation, the hip has re-established itself with its new hip emplacement, and I am now almost 99% fit to walk again.
So the feeling, mga arthritis warriors, was that the first step felt correct. It felt right for Mr. Leon. And Sir Leon, when did you take this first step after surgery? Was it a week after surgery you took your first step? 5 days maybe?
No. My gentleman consultant then at the time said to me, "No, the surgery is not bad. It's not painful. And the next day, you will probably be able to put a foot on the ground." And it was almost miraculously true because I did so 2 days after the operation.
So mga arthritis warriors, you heard it from Sir Leon. 2 days after the surgery, he was already taking his first step, and he described it as feeling right, feeling correct. That was his words. And what was the most surprising thing about this recovery, sir?
Well, the most surprising thing for the recovery, during the recovery, or at the beginning of the recovery, is that the unexpected effect of the anesthetic was somewhat longer than I had anticipated. This led me to wonder, so I went on Google and I read some past reports from other cases that in some cases, some patients had taken over a year to recoup.
Are you saying that it took you over a year to recoup, sir?
Not over a year to recoup, but it took me some time. So don't be in a hurry.
Okay. Thank you for that clarification. So, Sir Leon, if you could show someone the difference between your life now and your life before the procedure, how would you make that comparison, sir?
Well, the comparison was life or death. At the stage that I had reached before the procedure, I had no life. I had no ability to practice anything, either to play the piano or to try and play ping pong or even to take gentle daily exercise. I had reached a point where I was becoming paralyzed, physically with pain and mentally disturbed.
Wow.
Truly, really disturbed because I fear I did not know where I was going anymore. But thanks to you, I'm here, alive and kicking, and I thank you so much.
And did you hear that, arthritis warriors? He felt like it was life versus death. Death because he was no longer able to play the piano, play ping pong, get daily exercise. And can you do all of those things now, sir?
Yes, I can do everything in moderation, of course. Don't forget, I'm 87, 7 years old, my dear fellow.
Okay, thank you for that. At 87 years old, do you still like to travel, sir?
I do. I've just come back from a tour of France, of its Paris, Normandy, the Ile of the Mont Saint Michel, which is an island in the Mediterranean Sea. Oh, no, but never mind what sea it is, but it's in the sea. And I've walked thousands and thousands of steps, which I cannot measure in meters, but millions of steps. And I feel a new man.
Amazing, amazing. Mga arthritis warriors, Sir Leon has traveled from Philippines to France and back. And one thing that I know is very iconic in France is the Eiffel Tower. Have you gone, sir, to the Eiffel Tower?
Oh, I did so, and I went up to the third floor.
The third floor
Yes,
and back.
And back.
And back. So he traveled France to the Eiffel Tower and back to the Philippines. Tell us, what is one myth about hip replacement surgery that you would like to tell our fellow arthritis warriors in the audience that is seriously not true? One myth that maybe it's been told or you've heard it from your neighbors or friends that is not true.
Well, it's difficult to highlight one in particular, but there are people who tend to exaggerate the slightest thing. And if they fail at the reception time, they become affected and immediately feel down. And with that, they carry it through the operation. And when they come out of the operation, well, it takes them a little bit longer to recuperate, but that's because they started it. They made it awkward before it began.
That's very interesting. So mga arthritis warriors, we have to look into ourselves and be careful what we tell ourselves because we may be the ones delaying our own recovery. Remember, and I do believe that this is my opinion, and tell me if this is true, sir, that healing starts in the mind.
Absolutely nowhere else.
Nowhere else. So it's not just a physical thing?
No, not at all. In fact, everything begins from your brain.
Yes. So mga arthritis warriors, please don't believe everything that you hear and everything that you see because these things might affect the way you think and the way you recover and heal. Now, Sir Leon told us that the pain of arthritis impacted his activities, his walking, his exercise, his ability to travel, or even get out from bed and go into the restroom. Would you say that getting this hip replacement done was definitely the right decision for you?
Well, the right decision and the only decision and the best decision, for it is impeccable. The procedure was professionally done by a very, very experienced gentleman, and I have recovered very well, very happily, with the minimum of pain, which has now completely relieved me and allowed me to begin to start looking forward to a few more years of life in front of me.
Amazing, sir. Thank you for that. And thank you for those inspiring words. What advice, Sir Leon, would you give someone in the Philippines who is afraid because they've heard rumors about not being able to walk after having the surgery done? Many Filipinos and patients here in the Philippines are afraid. Many of them have been advised the need for a hip replacement, but they have this anxiety, this fear. What would you say is your best advice for them?
The best advice for anyone in the Philippines if they have reached this stage, is to contact the surgery at Cybergate, Cebu City. There they will get all the information, all the assistance, and believe me, the perimeter from beginning to end will be fully attained. I cannot tell you or recommend anything anywhere better that I know about. This is first-class information for somebody who has worked there and has with great difficulties and has come out healed.
Thank you for that. Mga arthritis warriors, if you don't understand what Sir Leon is telling us, Cybergate is indeed the clinic, our clinic, the Cebu Orthopedic Institute, where our clinic is addressed or located. And this is where you can find us. We do treat hip arthritis and knee arthritis patients. And maybe what Sir Leon is telling us, if you know you have severe arthritis and you have been diagnosed, you've been advised a hip replacement procedure, one thing that you can do is always get a second or third opinion after seeing one surgeon. You don't need to rush because this is not actually a life-threatening emergency. And it does help, if you would agree with me, sir, to have a second opinion done just so that you are more confident and more educated with regards to the procedure.
Absolutely. A second opinion at Cybergate is a must.
Okay.
Don't hesitate. Just do it for God's sake and for your own sake.
Okay. You heard that, mga arthritis warriors. A second opinion is a must. Don't go rushing into surgery that you do not understand. Definitely, I always want the patients to come before the surgery educated and with a sound and calm mind. So what we're going to ask from Sir Leon is, now that you have this newfound freedom of movement and you've shared with us that you've been traveling France and back to the Philippines, what advice would you give for someone preparing for a hip replacement? Is there something that they need to do? Is there a sort of medical clearance that is standard for patients? Is there a mental preparation that needs to be done, sir?
Well, the mental preparation for sure. But it's not until, if you're stuck with what I was stuck with, it is not until you get a second opinion that you're able, or you begin to feel able to make a decision. And without hesitation, this is what I would do. I've done it before. It worked. I know it worked with other guys that I've met. And I recommend to anyone in the same predicament not to hesitate and get this second opinion and take action with it as quickly as possible. Don't delay. Don't wait. No waiting. The sooner you have the procedure, the sooner you will be better.
Thank you for that advice, sir, because a lot of our arthritis warriors do delay. They do wait. They're waiting for sometimes a miracle drug. They're sometimes waiting for a supplement that cures all. And a lot of our arthritis warriors spend millions of pesos spending it on things that don't work. I'm afraid this is the reality. We believe in a lot of advertisements, commercials, social media more than doctors who've already advised our patients that surgery may be the only way. And that is why Sir Leon mentioned a second opinion is a must. It is something that you need to go through to make sure that you are confident with your decision. And he recommends a hip replacements for patients with severe arthritis. Sir Leon, I have one last question for you, and it is about the mind preparation, the mental preparation that you did prior to surgery. For those arthritis warriors who are definitely anxious and fearful, even to get a second opinion, what would you tell them, or what did you tell yourself, sir, so that you won't be afraid?
Well, my situation was the pain was so painful that I had to regain some confidence. And the only way I could regain some confidence in my situation was to meet a surgeon who would give me mental clarification as to what I was about to embark on.
Mm.
Once he had done this, which he did meticulously, thoroughly, and with patience, I had regained momentum and I had regained confidence, and I believed in him. And that is important. Believe in your surgeon. If you don't believe in him, don't bother. But if you believe in, and I don't think that at this clinic it will take you any longer than it took me.
Mm.
And I wish you good luck, and may God bless all of you in the future with every procedure.
Thank you very much, sir. Mga arthritis warriors, we thank you for Sir Leon's word of advice. It is definitely very important that you trust your surgeon. If you feel that you still don't have that trust in your surgeon, please do get a second and third opinion. And I hope that whoever is out there with severe arthritis, please listen to this interview from the start to end, because severe arthritis can take away your life, your quality of life, and you should not delay management, because you will get depressed and down and you will lose confidence. If you want to get the ability back in your life, please do see an orthopedic surgeon near you, sir or ma'am. Much love and respect. This is Dr. Joff, putting the ability back in your life so that you can do the things that you want to do with your loved ones. Thank you so much, Sir Leon.
My pleasure, sir.
Thank you. So that's the end. I'll edit it. It'll be up in about 2 weeks, sir.